Bam! Okay, so we're on episode 34. All right.
Return of the Kings.
Welcome to the Goop Cast, and we got several different topics. So it's gonna be just going with a couple topics here. Is maybe I should just put it on the screen.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
Geopolitics and the age of post-Trump America. Let's do it.
We put a lot of topics up, so we're not gonna get through them all. Some of them we might even skip, cause there's quite a bit here and there. But I guess we'll go over with our little bit of a test recording that we did earlier. My little kind of quick little jab right now. Today is so that people get a context of the time. So January 25th right now. And I saw the third episode of WandaVision, and I was saying it feels like it's such a slow burn. It's just like the plot's not moving along, and I remember we discussed this before. Is where, like Apollo said, it's this fabrication of the episodes being piecemealed out one episode 1 week at a time to kind of push out that. Just to expand and secure people for their subscription of Disney Plus, and it really feels like that this is the case. These episodes, me and my wife were not enjoying ourselves watching it. Like, sure, we respect the attempt on what they're doing, kind of a more of an artful aspect to it, and a homage to that type of television. That was great for the first episode, but then now we're on episode 3. I ain't enjoying it. I'm waiting for it. I think it's better if I were to binge it. So that's where I'm at. And
good to know.
And then D, what was it? Oh yeah, you were talking about Disenchantment. That was the
Oh yeah, so it's one of those series I enjoy, but it's just I don't enjoy the formula. One of my biggest problems is that it has that. It's the type of show that would work better as a comedy that just made fun of fantasy tropes, and instead it's just going through this whole world that it's trying to sell us on. And I kind of lose a lot of engagement because some of the characters are just funny for bits, and those characters are being used for drama and pushing some continuity and challenging the status quo. It's like, I get it because, watching shows like The Simpsons and Futurama, one might worry like, hey, are we just not taking ourselves seriously enough, or are we not doing effective things with our characters? We're just kind of putting ourselves in a corner. Well, Simpsons is more guilty of that than Futurama. Futurama actually did kind of challenge some things, but I just get to this point where it's like, look, drama or comedy, pick one and just stick to a tone. We're already 30 episodes in, so it's way too. I'm talking about Disenchantment, not the Goopcast, but we're already 30 episodes in, and
Let's stop doing
I
drama.
get an idea of what it's trying to do. It's just okay. You have this formula where you just want to bring all the story elements around the last couple episodes. You don't even invest in that too much. You spend more time like duking around and being a comedy and go like, oh shit, we're running out of episodes. Let's pick up the story again. And oh, guess what? Well, guess you have to keep your Netflix subscription if you want that other season, because we're just going to hit that reset button and everything's going to go back to normal. Hey, we're all drinking and having comedy again. Oh no, story time for story. It's like, that's the damn formula. I don't think that 10 episodes is enough for a season. To be honest, they really need to bring it up to more, maybe like 13 or 16 something, but it needs it needs a little bit more mileage because they do spend a lot of time world building. I don't mind world building, but you really have to stick to a tone here, because if you just want to do a drama, just do a drama. You clearly want that Game of Thrones money or something, or Hobbit money. I don't know what you're chasing. Like, you're trying to make light of it, but just please you don't have enough episodes to tell whatever story you do because everything's just in little snipples. And
Yeah.
I spent so long waiting for the season, and I wasn't hoping for it to be good. I just wanted to see some continuity of what happened, and they brushed over all the events of the last season's climax as if like, oh, easily resolvable. You were worried. You didn't have to worry. Oh, now you have to worry again, but now for different shits. Like, okay, your formula's starting to be noticeable. It's just what I'm getting at. It's like, please, just not saying change up the formula, but just try to have better plot focus because all these hanging threads are probably going to lead to nowhere, especially if you're dealing with Netflix, one of the most nowadays, what's that word? Frugal of the streaming services because it's not having the staying power it used to. So it's not as though you can remember what happened to the Venture Brothers? They had a lot of hanging threads, and guess what? They got dropped by their fucking network too. That can easily happen to Disenchantment.
Right. It's true.
So my worry is just that they want to tell the story that might not get finished because they spend too much time trying to get the laughs.
Right.
Like, what is the tone of this show? Like, I haven't seen it since a couple of episodes.
It's a roller coaster. It does have the same kind of cheap laughs you'll expect from Simpsons and Futurama. It's not the same exact type of show though. It's like when you see the drama episodes of Futurama, like Poochie and the freaking Luck of the Friarish. And then those are tear jerking episodes. They work for what they are. But the problem with Disenchantment is it's trying to squeeze a little bit of that into every bit of the episodes, even if it's just focused on comedy, because they have moments just to take a back and look at the characters saying like, oh, these are the characters and their problems. These are the characters and their problems. These are the characters and their problems. Oh, and guess what? There's season 3 has a character development that you kind of expect, and I'm not going to say what it is, but it's the kind of stuff that you see in modern cartoons where like, surprise, surprise, guess what? This is happening with the female character. And again, I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but people who've seen the season get where I'm going with this, or people who seen modern cartoons get where I'm going with this. And it's like, okay, that's kind of a trend, isn't it? Like, but yeah.
Does anybody else watch it? I don't watch it at all.
I haven't seen it.
Brenda watches it here and there, and I watch it, but like in a way where I'm not really paying attention a lot what's going on.
It's just like white noise in the background.
Pretty much. The I mean, like the premise, I can at least say that, especially since it's been out for a little while. The first season, it plays on the concept that the main character has a mother that is long gone, and has a stepmother that has this kind of the play on the cliche Disney princess has a stepmom means she's evil type of situation, right? So there's this like story that's kind of going on that thread, and main characters don't really want to be a princess, I suppose, or something like that. Kind of like going against the whole grain of like what a lady she should be.
Right.
And then there's like these other characters that she meets. One's an elf, and then another one's like a demonic, like demon that was summoned. Because that plays into the whole concept that she has a destiny, and there's these people that are after her, and they summon the demon, and the demon ends up becoming more of like a friend to her than a villain. And then later in the seasons or whatever, it's later revealed that it's the opposite. The stepmom is just the stepmom, and the real mother is the real evil queen of sorts. So it flipped it.
Right. It tries to do a lot of that, subverting those expectations, subverting those fantasy tropes.
Right, and then the father is the king, so he's like involved with like the situation, of course, but That's as far as I can remember in terms of the bigger plot points, if anything.
I still want to watch it just for curiosity's sake. But I remember just being pun totally intended very disenchanted with the show. The first couple of episodes that I watched, they were just boring.
Yeah,
it's not a bad watch. What I'm mostly getting on about is just like I just don't agree with the show's creative choices. Right. I think that it's one of those series that you can enjoy binging through. Because I had a hell of a time binging through the first 10 episodes and the second season. It's just, once I started noticing the formula, I'm like, no. Please don't do that again in 4. That's just all I ask. Please just try to add a better hook than repeating this formula.
Right, it's like a predictable formula of what's going on.
Like it's designed to snare the viewer and then keep them wanting to renew their Netflix account. That's how I'm seeing the formula.
Right.
So there is an overall plot to it because, shows like Futurama and The Simpsons didn't have an overall plot. It was just...
Even the characters that are designated not to like, you may actually find likable qualities in them. That's one of the show's strong points.
Good.
Yeah, it does have like a bigger theme going around. It's not just like you're not getting spammed full of just continuous just haha episodes where you don't need to like pay attention.
Yeah, it's an overarching plot.
Yeah, so I mean it exists for sure. More so than it did in the Futurama or Simpsons, where it's just more like you get the day in the life of type of situation. Yeah.
I want to go back to WandaVision because you guys probably know more about the like overall plot as to what's happening behind Wanda and Vision and what the whole conspiracy is behind it because
I haven't seen any of it, so I don't know anything.
Okay.
So,
but you guys know about the comics, right? Like, have you guys?
Yeah, I know about the comics. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah. What happens in it? I mean,
too bad. Too bad. You read the comics? Well, fuck you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fucking nothing has to do with it. Okay, I don't understand what's going on in the fucking show. It's 3 episodes in. I still fucking understand what's going on. Like they so little of it information wise is given each episode about what the main thing's happening. Like, why are they there? What are like, are we in Wanda's mind or not? Right. Or like, what is this?
Yeah, that's by design. They want people to be, speculating about it.
Exactly. That's why I fucking hate this carrot on a stick. That's why I think it's terrible. Like, the first 3 episodes is just atrociously boring. Me and Brenda are like, we're just going back to our phones and watching YouTube. Like, that's just how it is right now.
It's just not compelling enough to like hook you. Yeah.
What happens in the comics?
This has nothing to do with the comics.
I know, but what happens in the comics? I'm just asking about the comics.
There is literally nothing. No, I'm telling you, there's nothing in here from the comics. Because
they're just cherry-picking certain parts from the comics, like them having kids and things like that. But it doesn't actually
has no connection to like House of M or
not actually.
Yeah, like nothing. Nothing. Like zilch. Not even close. There is no you could take sometimes like bigger plot character development things and say, oh, that was a reinterpretation from this comic. But in this one, it's like, no, like there isn't. It's just them. I don't even know like what it is. It's just, it has no idea. Like they're stuck in some sort of thing. There's somebody that's keeping them there, or is it her? I don't know. Like there's literally nothing. Like I have no clue. 3 episodes in, no clue. Not even close. Doesn't even help me like relate to any. I can't pick a comic that maybe the Vision comic, but I don't even know what that comic's about.
Okay.
Like, not even close. I have no idea. It's like legitimately frustrating just because it's just like we're 3 episodes in and I haven't gotten any bigger story point other than that they're stuck there.
Right.
Like, that's it. Somebody's monitoring them, but I don't know who. And it looks like somebody can enter it and somebody can get ejected out of it. That's it.
Okay.
At all.
So, again, like, forget about the show. Let's not talk about the show. What happens in the comics? What is the overall, plot of the comics? Like, what happens? Just forget that the show exists at this point. Like, I don't.
Okay,
I know
what do you want to talk about? Because
like, what is the the premise of the WandaVision, the comics? Like
there isn't.
There isn't full. That's
there
what I'm
aren't-
fucking saying. There is no comic.
Yes, so basically it's like it doesn't seem, from what Sean seems to be saying, it doesn't seem to be connected to any comic at all. They're cherry picking certain things from here and there, but it's not from any specific arc or anything.
There is no comic.
They're just making it up, basically. They're just making it up.
It's literally like it's such a huge pool of comics for me to maybe speculate. But House of M is not even close to this. Literally not even close. Like not even iota. It's just all you need to know is that Vision that Vision is there and Wanda has those powers to maybe manipulate like reality, but I can't tell because for all I can tell right now, based on the 3 episodes, it's not reality. She's not bending reality. She's just bending whatever that's happening to her now in that moment, whatever that is. Like you're asking me to come up with like where does it come from the comics? Like that's literally that's the problem. I can't. There's nothing from the comics. You just have to know that she has like ability to manipulate reality, but at this point in time in the 3 episodes I've gotten, is it she's manipulating it or somebody else is manipulating it, or is she trapped in some sort of dome that's like virtual reality thing, and the other people are there? Are they just actors, or I have no fucking clue, dude. Like zero clue. You're asking me to come up with whatever. Like there's nothing I can come up with. It's so little information. Yeah. Like, that's it. WandaVision is just a take, a TV show's take on other TV shows right now, at this point. That's it. I literally got nothing else.
Well, Sean, you totally disappointed me. I thought you'd have all the answers right now. What the hell? What the hell?
Clearly, yeah.
You were supposed to be the one.
Okay, how about this? One thing I don't know about is that there's a Vision's family thing where like there's a family that he has. I don't even know what that one's about because I've never heard of that one. So there's like a comic that shows Vision having a family, but that's literally it. Like that's it. It's just the title or just the premise of him having a family. But I never read that comic. I have no idea, like, where that plays into the show. Just that he has a family?
I mean, you're talking about the one where he has a family with Wanda, right? And they have 2 kids?
No, there's like there's a comic called Vision. And it's not with Wanda.
It's separate?
It's separate. It's like, it's basically... It's not even canon as far as I can tell, and he created his own families. I don't know completely the story around that, but it's a comic called Vision. It shows that he has like 2 kids, a wife, and they all look like him. And they have a family. That's it. I don't know anything about that freaking comic, so
and it's funny that this is the exact opposite of that Vision. No
Yeah,
pun intended.
because this one is
Um,
because the one in the like in that comic, it looks like he legitimately has a family, and he legitimately this is like alternate world or
mhm,
universe or something,
yeah.
and it literally does not have anything to do with what's going on here. Because this one's more like, oh, everybody's living through this TV show fake reality, and then there's this kind of undercurrent secret that either Wanda knows or whatever, or some of the fucking
There's the
people, yeah,
there's
the
the sword
residents.
logo on the um found in the show. I think can't remember where I saw it. Let me see. Let me see.
Oh, right, there's that symbol on what's her face's neck or something. Um, Monica Rambeau's character.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see, Monica. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea what that symbol means either. It's just, and on top of that, it's just like, who gives a crap too? Because it's like a 2 second thing that shows up. Like,
But it's also on the yeah, it's also on that rescue helicopter that the ship picks up, and it's
well,
the one
yeah.
thing that's in color.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's like the whole thing. Like, she's connected to this organization or whatever. But like, I don't know what. It's literally it's doing this thing that they know people like pick at the little Easter eggs, and so they literally, you know, like little drips, little drips of that drug
Mhm.
to get you like, oh, speculating and whatever. Like, fuck you. Why do you have to do this to story?
Mm.
It's really frustrating.
Sounds like you really think it's a 10 out of 10, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just waiting, okay? Like at this point, I'm just waiting for it to, get somewhere, and then I'll like, hey, yay or nay or but right now, it's such a slow start. It's just like well, you better get somewhere because if we're at the last episode and then they start explaining everything, just info dump you, then it's just like
Mm.
why did you do this? It's not even
Yeah.
rewatchable at that point. You just like
For sure.
skip more than half of it then, and then it'll get somewhere. It's like I don't know. I don't know, man.
Man, that's gotta
Yeah,
be a problem for Disney if
sword facility, great.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it has to do with
it's
the instead of shield, it's sword. It's the space
Mhm.
version of a shield.
Which is what they
Yeah.
showed at the end of Captain Marvel,
Yeah, it's
with
just
Nick
like
Fury being in it.
great.
Yeah, I've totally forgot about that.
Again, it's like lack of information. Just show us that sword and that's it.
Yeah, overall,
Yeah.
this show hasn't been received well at all. Like, I can't think of many people praising the show and definitely its direction right now.
Right. Yeah. And it's unfortunate because it shouldn't be the fault of the. I'm pretty sure it's not the fault of like people trying to write the story. Like they're constrained with just like, okay, you don't put in all the don't move the plot along too fast now.
Right.
Pretty seems pretty freaking ridiculous to be.
I think the larger problem is the fact that the episodes aren't that they just aren't fun. I mean, The Mandalorian moved at its snail's pace and still worked in the end.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like, well, I mean, here's the thing about that. Like, one episode was treated as its own episode. You don't need to watch the rest of the series to understand the bigger story. You can just pick one episode. You get some
Right.
context of why they're there, but in itself was encapsulated with an arc. Whereas in like,
Mhm.
or at least a character that like, sure, okay, maybe let's pick one episode. Oh, pick one episode. One episode where they you know that Mando needs to go and what was it? The one where he picks up the thief guy whatever from the previous episode or
That's
previous
so
season.
weird. That's exactly the one that I was that you were that I was thinking about. The one where they meet the the chick uh, um from Shield. You know
Hmm?
the one they call the Cavalry. You guys watched the
Ming
show.
Na Wen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
Her.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the episode we're talking about now.
I
No,
think
you're talking.
I think I was talking more, but I do I
Right.
do know what you're talking about though. Like, but
Either
basically we're
episode
on the
works
same
based
vibe
on
here.
what you're saying.
Yeah, it's same thing. Where like we are connected
It's a
to the
procedural show, so
Yeah.
it's each one is standalone and it has its own beginning, middle,
Right.
and end, rather than a serialized arc that you have to watch several episodes
Several
to
episodes.
understand what the fuck's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which why Mando works. Like it just there you go. Like just simple as that. And I don't have to worry about like missing stuff or like not getting the clues or something or just waiting for it to go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Because again, it feels also like once you move from one division, you go to another episode and it forgets what the fuck happened in the previous episode. Like it has no who cares
Oh.
what happened?
Doesn't feel like there's continuity. I mean, I guess
That's
once the whole
interesting.
thing is
Huh.
yeah. I mean, just because they keep moving from one era to of television to the other,
Yeah,
a lot
Well,
of things
sure,
seem
sure.
to reset. Yeah.
right. So based on maybe the plot that's happening is that some of the characters don't remember what happened, like
Right.
everything's reset for them. But I mean, I hope that's not the case. I remember we're only 3
I
episodes
don't
in.
think that that's the case because some of the characters like seem to be talking amongst themselves. And they seem to be um, they seem to be especially in this third episode. The woman and the guy talking across the fence. They seem to be talking amongst themselves, and they seem to know
They
or
know
to be aware
something,
that
right?
they know something that they're aware that they're not supposed to tell her anything.
Right. Which
Yeah.
if you think about just the story structure, I mean, let's just say episode 3. Does it matter what I watched in episodes 1 and 2? Like 90% of that, it didn't matter.
Right.
Like it didn't. I don't really need to know what had happened in the episodes 1 and 2. Like, it
Yeah,
didn't
ironically,
affect
like
them. Yeah.
it seems like the whole, you know, it seems like the whole thing is designed to be just a waste of time for Wanda herself. Like it's supposed to it be imprisoning her mind and to keep her
And it sounds like
distracted
that's
from
unfortunately what's happening with the viewer as well. It
exactly.
feels like a waste
Right.
of time
It's-
because there's 9 episodes, so you're a third of the way through the series and you're still not excited about what's going to happen next. That's a pacing issue. That's a issue
There's
with
really
story.
only 9
like,
episodes.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's what's fucking frustrating me right now. I'm 3 episodes in and I don't give a fuck what's happening.
Yeah.
right.
And they're super short episodes too.
Yeah, I'm all like,
Right.
you better not just throw everything at me all at once. Like,
Yeah.
this next episode, like, better like move something along because it just ain't doing anything right now at all. Like, fuck.
Yeah. If more was happening over the course of a longer time, like if it was like 48, 50 minutes long episode like The Mandalorian, it'll feel more meaty too. Like 20.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, assuming that they were doing interesting things.
Exactly.
Like
Right.
you can't just make a longer episode and have it be the same shit that you're describing. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter the length of the episode. It just sounds like they're not really doing anything. They're just sort of just treading water, rather than going in meaningful directions that keep the viewer engaged. Yeah.
Yeah, like if it was if let's like just say the assumption is that the episodes are so short because they for some reason that's their constraint, which I mean, I'm not saying that it should be, or it is, but yeah,
I feel like they probably just did that just to keep in line with the sitcom theme.
format. I
Like,
see.
because that's how sitcoms are. They're 22 minutes, and
Right.
you have everything solved in that 22 minutes.
Right.
But I haven't seen it. But whether that works over the course of the season and for what what they're going for, I guess we'll have to see. But
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like we don't know if is it all happening in her mind? Has she, trapped them all in a reality that she created herself? Or
Yeah.
is it, some sort of, half that thing, created by Sword, and there's a whole, cabin in the woods amount of people, on the sidelines, watching them and like, just guiding every single thing she does.
Right.
right, and it's fine that you don't know. Obviously, it's just that it's not. You don't care at this point. It's just like you don't. It's just so boring that it's just like, well, like, just something happened. It doesn't even matter
Yeah.
what.
As far as we know, it's just something happened. There's some sort of villain, I guess, or maybe it's in her mind. Still don't know. And then like, it's kind of one of those things where like you're spending the whole entire episode and only at the very, 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 very end or small little speckles you get these hints of like they know something's wrong. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like they throw a couple of things like, oh, your brother was killed by Ultra. It's like, what did you say?
Yeah. It's like
Sorry for the spoiler there.
like oh boo.
Fine.
But like, bleh. Huh? I was expecting we're getting more about her, like what it was like growing up or something, or what it was
Right.
like, I don't know, in the experiments or something, or
Right.
like more about
Or-
her.
Or why put her in these, cheesy sitcoms? Like, why is it especially,
Right. Why is it, why is she
if
making
they're
this
trying
up?
to trap,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it like
how? What does
connected
that
to
have to do
her?
with her psyche? Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what I was like.
Well, I mean, I
Thinking.
kind of, I just from seeing the trailers and stuff, I mean, I assume that whoever put her in there put her in these idyllic situations because that's what she wanted. She wanted a family with vision. She wanted this stable life that she's never had. So why not put her in these situations where she is the perfect housewife and Vision is the perfect husband, and they have this perfect life with kids and neighbors and barbecues and all this stuff. That's what I assume.
Yeah. And that's a
Because
safe assumption.
that's where this takes place right after Endgame. So this is like supposed to be like, okay, this is her at her basically lowest point emotionally. Like, what's the best way to like trap her somewhere? Like, give her everything she wants. Like, give her what she craves, right?
Right.
I think that if they made more connections to that, the episodes would feel more meaningful and meaty.
Yeah. For sure. No, I definitely agree with that. If there was hints of that vehicle of what she wants and it's being provided here, then that would have been more interesting to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, again,
Instead of just like, it doesn't really feel like that at all. It just really feels like, look at this wacky, episodes that are homage to, old television, which
yeah,
they're well crafted in that sense, but they're not very interesting.
right. It's kind of like it's a giant fan service that is not going anywhere
Yeah.
for whoever's fans of those shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying I'm not necessarily a fan, but I mean, it was a long time ago. Like,
I mean, at one
I mean,
point, we
I
grew
like
up
I
watching
Love
them.
Lucy and all those sorts of shows,
Right.
but I am watching. When I
I'm
watch
watching-
WandaVision, like I'm watching it
for
for
Wanda, yeah,
Scarlet Witch and
Yeah.
for Vision and for their story to go somewhere,
Right.
and connect to the MCU and all this other shit. I'm not watching it to watch I Love Lucy. If I would just go watch I Love Lucy
Yeah,
if I wanted to
I know,
watch that.
right?
So, yeah.
He's like, okay, great love letter, but this is really long letter.
Right.
It's a really long letter right now. It's running on. But yeah, I mean that's it for episode. I mean that's all I got to say. There's nothing much else you can say right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was all a dream. Oh wait, that's a valid. That's a valid theory this time.
Okay, so everybody watch Watchmen, right? Like the TV series.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
have
watched
you
it.
seen it?
No.
do you care about spoilers?
Not really. I mean, I've seen references to what
So
Watchmen's about.
good, we really need to watch it.
It's pretty fun, but you don't necessarily need to watch. I mean, like, I'm just saying, D, like, what's your history with it?
I'm.
Like,
It's
have
one of
you
those
read the
things where it's
comic?
like I can see watching or reading and still know the ending and just want to see. But it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like I don't care about the destination. I know how to enjoy the ride still.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I mean, so like, okay, so, uh, but and you, so when we talk about some certain things, like, have you seen the movie? Maybe, like, you've seen the movie.
I know what the idea is. It's
Okay,
deconstructing the problems with being a superhero, and it's doing it from like the problems with having superheroes who either want to play it straight or want to be anti-heroes or
right,
act like anti-heroes. So it's showing problems not just with anti-heroes, but also with those with great power.
right.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well, I mean, okay, so I did finish it. What's everybody's thoughts on it? So,
I thought it was great.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it did a really great job of just. I was afraid of, anybody making a, not just Watchmen as a series, something that is just so, landmark in the, in the world of comics, but also something that it's going to be a sequel to that, like
Yeah.
yeah.
just
Same.
instinctively.
Kind
Yeah.
of, same here. I was kind of like, I don't know, sequel. That's ugh, scary. No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a worthy successor to the comic. Whereas, when we got the movie, I was very disappointed with that. But this takes a lot of the ideas from the comics, and brings back the good amount of the characters like Manhattan and Ozymandias and even Silk Spectre, and brings them like sort of decades later, sees what's going on with them, and you introduce a lot of new interesting characters as well, and it's very interesting. And it's an interesting setting too, having it in like the deep south and Oklahoma, and yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think why this one was doing so well is because it didn't get too caught up with it being connected to Watchmen.
Yeah.
And then isn't connected to what is it? It's not connected to the movie. Because one big critical for me personally was that they acknowledged that it was a monster that dropped into New York,
Right.
not just some sort of big giant
Right.
teleporting bang like in the movies.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
guys
defeated
didn't like
the
that, huh?
entire
Wait,
purpose.
can we make a detour to that? You guys didn't like the fact that it was just basically a giant nuclear explosion.
In the movie.
Yeah.
It defeats the whole purpose of the story of the like comic and like what he's
Because
building.
the comic was the monster.
But yeah, and the comic is the monster, and the monster is supposed to be the thing that everybody fights in order to come together and stop themselves from nuclear mutual
Actually,
nuclear
yeah,
annihilation.
the irony of you saying fighting it actually lands dead.
Oh, it lands that,
Yep.
Right.
but it kills millions of people in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't
But
read the
it
comic.
literally
Sorry.
fucking
I'm
landed
sorry.
on them. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I can probably understand why See, that's the thing where, comic and movie don't very gel well. Like, the comic, it makes sense for some sort of monster though. And then the movie was all like, I don't know, it's not believable with the monster.
Yeah.
And that's the argument. That's why they put in an explosion versus a monster that plops in there.
And that's
Right.
also why it shouldn't have been a movie in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so much like you have to understand when you read Watchmen, the comic. Not only is there a lot in the comic, like backstory and stuff, and like
The
all
monster
this,
makes more sense in
yeah,
the comic.
there's all this stuff, but then there's stuff in between, like the comic, where there's just like pages and pages of writing and stuff that like builds out the world. Like there's so much fucking like Alan Moore writes so much, it's insane.
Yeah, he's like,
Sometimes too much, to be honest, but like
Yeah.
there's a lot there that a movie just simply cannot tackle.
yeah, they cannot
Oh, yeah.
tackle it. It's just the detail is just ridiculous.
Yeah, the other comparison that I can make it is V for Vendetta. I did read that comic after watching the movie, and while there's some, really close parallels, like there's also huge differences between the characters and
Right.
and the
Yeah.
overall themes that it tackles. Like the different than that of the comics is just so much more meaty. Like there's so much more, uh, it's so much more, complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I imagine that
It's pretty
the
much
same thing has to
impossible
be
to
for
put in a
Watchmen.
2-hour movie.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why I'm glad that this was a series, because
Yeah,
even though it's not,
because this
it does,
one
it's
takes time.
not really the comic. Like it's obviously a sequel, like you said, Carlos. It can take its time. It can have like this sort of, it can deal with these new characters, but it can also sort of delve back into some of the history of the story of the original comic and the characters there, and sort of see like the evolution of those characters. And yeah, it has the time to do it.
And I mean,
So
it's a
it works.
really bold movie. I mean, a really bold show too, and to tackle so much of like, the, racism that it's just, and social divides that are so relevant right now with the in our, in our society. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
it nobody wants to even, come close, come anywhere near close with like, with a 10-foot pole, with that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, we're just gonna
Yeah.
tackle it right in.
Yeah, so like one of the things that we're talking about is like the first of all, it starts off with the Tulsa, just like massacre, and
Yeah.
that
Black Wall Street, and yeah.
and then that drives the entire show. Like that context is super important for some of the origin stories that are played out with characters that had been abandoned via this situation that had happened. So one of the characters had who is later revealed to be one of the characters in the Watchmen. I remember Watchmen is a group much like a Justice League or Avengers, full of heroes, and this character that was a child when it happened, and lost his parents, it put something in him to kind of drive him toward that psyche of like what it means to be a hero. And by him donning the mask, some events happen. He dons the mask and he goes out being a vigilante, and it inspires other heroes and other people to take kind of justice in their own hand. And that's how it links to Watchmen, especially the comic. And then it gives him more of an origin story, because you didn't get pretty much any of that in the comic. And then this also spawned other aspects of the story that you're following. That is their struggle of like their internal struggle as well as their external struggle with what it means to be, being in a racist society, just straight up. Like
Yeah,
even
you wouldn't know how that feels like.
right, and plus there's like and there's even like these small little trickles of like gender biases too. So
Yeah.
they have a lot of things that are happening constantly with these characters, and it's very well intertwined. And they play with different parts of the timeline too, which is great because that gives even more time for them to kind of flesh out characters. And the world that they are in, which is very alternative
Alternate
reality.
history?
Yeah.
Yeah, where Nixon is never arrested. He's never impeached or arrested, and he was never arrested in real life. But yeah, he was never removed and impeached, and like there is no term limit anymore for presidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
well, how many terms is said?
Yeah. Well,
he
I
was
think
there
it's
for a
General
while.
Ford, the one who ends up, being there for like years and years, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Gerald Ford.
Yeah,
And you talking about in the show?
in the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
in
he
the
has
show
those.
or like in their universe.
Because they talk about something that reparations, like those are
Yeah,
reparations for.
reparations. Yeah, that's when he becomes president.
Yeah.
And
What are those are reparations, but for whom I forget.
so people that suffered from Tulsa, or
Ah,
yeah. So basically, they play on the word reparations, but then he gets elected,
reparations.
and they call it refradations because he's Redford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does some sort of like I don't know, like some legislation or something like
Oh
that
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're talking about Robert Redford. Okay.
yes, Robert
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you
Redford.
were
Robert
talking about the
Redford. Yeah, you're right. It
actual
wasn't.
president, Gerald Ford. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Robert
yeah,
Redford, because they're playing on the fact that Ronald Reagan was an actor, and now Robert Redford,
yeah.
another actor, has also become president. Yeah.
Right. And he was chosen to be president because Asia Mendez is pulling
Ozymandias.
it, oh yeah uh
Yeah.
that
Ozzy. Let's just call him Ozzy.
he's pulling the strings in the background
Yeah.
to make all this happen. But yeah, which if you haven't seen or read the comics, he's basically the guy that has the plot to mend the world through peace of a bigger monster. So he outs Dr. Manhattan, which is another character that is the one that killed millions of people by teleporting some sort of big giant like squid monster on top of New York. Because this is around the time with the nuclear crisis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Cold War.
Yeah, Cuban Missile Crisis type of situation, right? So everybody's worried about a big war happening, and he decides like, what's one better? Let's get a bigger monster, a bigger reason to fight against. That way, Russia and the U.S. of A. will join forces or have peace
Right.
talks or something. I don't know, whatever.
They
To
should have just
unify,
wished
yeah.
all the nuclear warheads, away.
Right.
Just like that one day in Wonder Woman.
It's funny. And I like their
I-
connections to the Vietnam War too, because like that was
Yeah.
interesting that still played a huge role.
All right, because they win the
Right.
Vietnam War in that.
Right, and it
With the
actually
help of
becomes
the
one of the state
comedian and the
Yeah.
Dr.
comedian and
Manhattan.
Dr.
Yeah.
Manhattan. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I like how they play into that because also that comes to some of the characters' origins as well, or like how they grew up or where they lost their loved ones, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it was a really good complex story. I enjoyed it, and where it went, I think was yeah, like it ended in a way where there's still questions, but do you really want it answered? Like I don't really care to have it answered. Kind of
Yeah.
like how the previous comic was like, I don't really care that Rorschach like could be revealing the truth behind everything. And it even plays into that, which is great in this one because it's a twist on it where now maybe like because he has that reveal, now it's a conspiracy, which is a lot like how we're dealing with life right now where people are always thinking everything's a conspiracy,
Right.
right? And sure, okay, some of that could be true, but at the same time, who gives a like just because you do know doesn't mean an end result mattered to the eventual doom of some characters, right? Which was interesting because some of the things that you as a viewer knew was true, and even the characters speculating of the truth, it still didn't matter because like in the end the bad guy's still the bad guy. And I do like that Ozzy Mendez, right?
Ozymandias.
Mendes.
Ozzy. Call him Jeremy Irons. He does such a fantastic job with the
Yeah,
character.
he was good.
Yeah. He's good
but-
in everything he does.
Yeah, I like his I mean, I don't know, like I'm kind of like in some ways I'm all like, oh man, I don't want him to get caught or the truth be out, but then at the same time I kind of do, but it doesn't really matter anyways because the how it ended had nothing to do, I mean, only had small I don't know how to explain it, like small effect to the bad guys that showed up because the bad guys were going to be bad guys anyways, right? Like they were going to try and take Dr. Manhattan's abilities because that's the whole plot eventually, like gets revealed, is that this racist group, was it they called the Cyclops or something, right?
don't know. It's been a while since I watched
So
it.
there's yeah no
Um,
yeah they're called the Cyclops. So like like the secret organization of like Hydra, right? They're they're not as, let's sidestep the racism, but just still call them bad guys. Nah, like these guys, they're called Cyclops, but they're straight up like they're a racist group. Um, and they have like been pulling these strings in the background to obtain Dr. Manhattan's abilities by having this device that essentially sucks, I guess sucks the, I don't even know what the,
power of him.
I guess his power. Yeah.
Yeah, they just
And
milk it out of him.
yeah. And
I just see his eyes like going with stars, like or like Rocco's friend and Rocco's mother-in-law.
right. Yeah. And I find it interesting because like that wasn't the that that whole thing, them stopping that didn't really need to be the thing that affected what the first Watchmen ended with, being the truth that Dr. Manhattan had really pretty much no involvement in terms of that, and it's a fake piece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just not like, I don't know, like you know how like it's kind of like that feeling that where you don't want Joker's um, origin story to be revealed because like then it would ruin the character.
Yeah.
And that's what I almost felt like that could have happened here, that
Right.
them revealing the truth behind the piece is fake, and the giant squid that just landed on New York is was all manufactured.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh man, but wouldn't that ruin everything? Like, wouldn't that ruin the entire story? But I almost felt like it didn't. Like, I felt like, you know what, maybe he did, maybe this is good. Maybe this is good that happens. Because either way, because like I think through the journey of this show, it felt like it didn't matter anyways. Like, whether he succeeded or not, the world would still come into some sort of form of calamity like this anyways. You know what I mean? Like, he himself maybe had some doubt that, like, no matter what he does, and that's interesting about him too. Like, no matter what he did or does, as trying to bring peace to the world, it's impossible. Like, it's just
Right.
even if he were to do something similar like that and make a fake peace, it wouldn't matter. Because things would resolve itself at some point anyways.
People would just resume their war path into
Right.
mutual annihilation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but at the same time, it's because like there's people like, not him necessarily, but people that still struggle to obtain peace. They may have inadvertently brought peace momentarily. That is not completely inevitable. Like, some of the things that he should be doing is not actually having to play his hand into it. Like, he doesn't need to always be there to save somebody's life or something, right? Or save the world. Because it would inevitably resolve itself. Like, somebody's going to play a part into the role that saves everybody. It's such a complex story.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about. But what did everybody think? What did y'all think about just like the overall story for Watchmen, like or like any particular characters that you enjoyed? I kind of liked what was his name? Looking Glass.
Mirror.
No,
Yeah, I
that was
think
an
it is Looking
insult.
Glass. You're right. Yeah. Mirror
She was like
face.
mirror face. That was
Hey,
funny.
did you see the guys from Corridor Digital deconstructing how they actually did that?
Oh no, I haven't seen that. That's pretty
So
interesting.
for spoilers, it's pretty cool. There isn't a material that you can make a mask like that. So the actor is actually wearing a green a green space
Oh,
mask. So, and they are actually just it's all it's all digital. They have to use that because there's no material that actually works that way.
right. I see.
Yeah.
Huh.
And yeah, and it's a lot of work too because there's little things that you just never notice. Like for example, there's a part where like the um the character just passes a rug over his face, trying to take to take away to just swipe away the sweat and the condensation.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
if you
yeah. He has
notice
a
that
little
like
like napkin thing, right?
yeah, exactly. You can see the reflection of the napkin at the bottom of the napkin, just like, coming close to his face. And it's like you have to, be putting that kind of stuff, all that reflection into it. You have to be like reflecting the entire environment on that, uh, on that thing. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. That's amazing that they were able to pull that off
hmm
so well.
Yeah. Like this show had really some really great, production values, but those are like some of the best production, best special effects, the ones you don't notice are actually there.
Mm. Yeah. The subtle ones, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I really like how they brought back some of the old characters, and specifically that um what's her face? The
She
Silk
became a
woman,
Spectre.
yeah, Silk Spectre became a
Silk Spectre, thank you.
FBI agent.
Hmm. Yeah, I like how much she had become this like. I mean, she had always been a distant, chanted, uh, character, but she was just so um. She always seemed to be a step ahead of everybody else. Like she always made the meta comment of like, for example, insulting that guy and calling him mirror face.
Yeah, yeah, she's disenchanted from the hero biz. I'm surprised they didn't say anything
Evolution.
about what's his name, Night Owl. I think his name is Night
Mm.
Owl.
No, they said he was in prison.
Oh, they
Like they
did?
said,
I didn't.
yeah,
I
they
did
said he
not
was in
remember that
prison.
at
And I
all.
think like she was doing it like so that like he would get some time knocked off of his sentence or something.
Oh, I did not catch that
Yeah, it's a
whatsoever.
small thing. I do remember that though.
Okay, okay. So that's why she's an agent. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a wild. Yeah, okay. I thought she was herself was just disenchanted with the whole thing, and she's just hunting them down just because she's all like, yeah, whatever. I've been there. You're stupid. Like I'm
Yeah,
older.
exactly.
Like you're stupid. Like you ain't solving shit.
Right,
Um,
right. She's not just disillusioned. She just doesn't want to be there.
yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
it's like me at work. Um,
Classic.
I had to. I had to.
I had to take your money. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I had to make the lame joke. That's what that I took from the '90s.
All right. All right. I mean, this is well. We can continue this uh other discussions. But we'll end this episode since it's been an hour, and then yeah, well, we'll just start recording. If well, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
But for now, our watch has ended.
Oh, gee. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Nice little connection there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Bye bye.